For more episodes of the Games4all podcast, check out our website, www.games4all.podcast.com.
You can also follow us at twitter.com/Games4all, or check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/Games4all podcast.
The Games4all podcast is brought to you in association with HostGator. For all your web host needs, check out hostgator.com. Hello and welcome to the Games4all podcast, episode 56. I'm your host Dan Young, and with me as always is my good friend
James Richard Craigie.
Nice. Okay, so welcome back for our third part of our E3 2011 coverage. We've done 2 episodes this week already. It's our third, so we're cracking
kind
on
of burnt
nicely.
out.
Yeah, a little bit burnt out. It's all good. We obviously discussed all of the press conferences so far, a lot of the unveilings, a lot of the games that are coming out from said companies and stuff. But today we're going to focus mainly on what games we're most impressed by. But not just that, what games we're not impressed by, and sort of ones we're kind of that are on our radar, but we're not too excited about yet. We're just kind of waiting to see what happens with it. So getting a little bit more in depth with some of the stuff we have seen now. There's been hours and hours and hours of coverage online of E3 this year, and a lot of games we've got to see, a lot of games we haven't. Now, as we're recording this, we tried very hard to record this as late as possible because we didn't want to miss out on certain news and certain announcements and things like that. So E3 is still going on at the moment for another day for this, for the rest of today. But obviously, because things are happening 8 hours, previous to us, that it's difficult to kind of do the show today and have everything covered. So there'll be a little bit of a overspill into next week's show. So I'm sure there'll be plenty of E3 news next week as well. But we are going to pretty much crack on. We've got a few news stories to start with, actually. I thought I'd just throw them out. So Mirror's Edge is a franchise that I know Michelle from the show really enjoys.
Yes, me not so much, because it kind of makes me a bit queasy.
You have vertigo, so I guess it really doesn't help if you're trying to play that kind of game. But the kind of the sort of, I guess it's kind of a parkour first person. Did all right. Didn't do as great as it perhaps should have, I think. And,
it didn't sell so well. It got praised because it was trying to do something different. Yeah,
but not everyone jumped on board that perhaps should have. But the DICE, who it's EA property, but DICE, who made the game, put out a statement saying, it was months ago, they said that there was a possibility of a sequel. They've thrown a few ideas about and seen what happens. But more recently, because of E3, there were a representative from DICE was interviewed about it and said basically, it's going to be if we ever do it, it's blatantly going to have the Frostbite 2 engine behind it. So that's pretty cool. That is, we're talking about the same engine that's running Battlefield 3. The reason the game looks so amazing, so that's quite exciting. What do you think about the idea of a Mirror's Edge sequel looking that good? Potentially looking that good.
Potentially, I think phenomenal. Although I couldn't play it, I watched Michelle sink many hours into it, and however many hours the game was.
About 5.
And you know what, it was a fairly nice looking game even then, but with this sort of technology behind it, and plus from what we've seen that it's capable of with destructible environments and stuff, and
they've got a lot of cool stuff running in as part of that engine. So
and sort of the depth of field and scope and all that, and putting that into
if I'm honest, it'd probably make it worse for you because it might look even more realistic.
Precisely.
It's going to scare the shit out of you.
I'm all for trying stuff that's different, and the whole thing of games evolving and everything is that you try different things and see what works, and then you tweak it. So I have a feeling that they've had plenty of time to get criticism on board and find out and work out. Okay,
let's be realistic. Realistically, we may see, if this goes ahead, we may see something next year, like a trailer or something.
Yeah, like a teaser.
But let's be honest, it's not really going to come out for another 2 years.
No, at least.
Yeah.
So.
But hey, better than never.
Yeah.
So I'm intrigued to see what comes of this. Whether it's just going to be one of those announcements. It's not really an announcement, but one of those kind of things that's been sort of said about in interviews that doesn't really come.
EA have said that they love the franchise. Despite the flaws there. They're really behind it. They really like that it was so different, and they're fully behind DICE going forward with it.
I think it'd be more successful this time around. But
Yeah. But like you were telling me earlier, DICE are fairly busy at the moment.
Yeah, they've got a few fingers in pies and stuff.
Yeah.
They got this game called Battlefield 3 coming out. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, more EA news actually. In a way, we spoke about Respawn Entertainment on this show before.
Yeah.
Respawn Studios, as I think they were kind of called at the time. It's basically the new studio from the guys who left Infinity Ward. Who
gone over to the other dark side.
Moved over from Activision to EA. So basically,
the lesser of two evils.
They've been working on some stuff, and they've got a team together. And everyone's been kind of like, oh, what's going to? There's rumor last year that they were going to show off something, but apparently there's been a kind of rumblings of a sci-fi shooter,
Call of Duty: Future Warfare.
Yeah, so. We'll see, but obviously there's not really an announcement of anything because it's just. But that's apparently what they're working on. So I'm interested to see what comes out of that. I mean, there's a lot of talent behind, the original Infinity Ward, and a lot of the original Call of Duty games were pretty awesome. Even the World War II shooters at the time were pretty amazing. So who knows? We'll see. I mean, it's a name to perhaps keep an eye on, and see what happens with it. But hey. Other news, Nintendo's Wii U, that we've loved so much and spoke about yesterday.
Yeah, I remember it well.
we mentioned about the whole online side of it, because obviously the games, a lot of the third-party games, these huge AAA titles that are announced for it, will have heavily online, Ghost Recon Online, for example.
Yeah.
Obviously online. The rumour is that they're scrapping the friend codes for online play. So, therefore making it easier, I guess, to, probably taking a leaf out of Xbox 360 and PS3's book and having some kind of friends list and gamer tag style thing, I'm guessing. Because otherwise, what else would you replace it with?
Absolutely.
The friend codes were a fucking pain in the arse anyway. Yeah. I mean, I think we can both agree on that. I think universally we can agree friend codes probably weren't a great idea.
No.
Right, let's leave it at that then.
I don't think I have done or ever planned to play anything online on my Wii at all.
No, well,
just because it was so much hassle.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, also in news, PlayStation's Vita, that's literally unveiled a few days ago, which is the new handheld, is rumoured to be a region-free device. Well, the games for it, at least. An executive from PlayStation, or from Sony, basically said that, you'll be free to import whatever games from whatever countries you want and guarantee they'll play on it. So basically, therefore, opening it up and not region locking it to, any specific country. So basically, UK games will work on American consoles and vice versa. And so that's kind of that's great. I think that's good.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I mean, there's going to be some really cool games that will be developed for it in other countries, and there might be a big gap in release dates, or there might not be a release date at all in this country for certain games.
Yeah.
Like certain Japanese games that look cool. And if you want to translate that game, fair enough, but, people have done it in the past,
Yeah.
And we never used to have a lot of this region locking and stuff on consoles. It was a really big thing, and I don't know. But I think it's good that they're kind of saying, you know what, fuck it, it was stupid, let's just forget it ever existed, and, it doesn't stop them from, region locking PS3 games and stuff, but,
Yeah.
I think it's good that they're trying. They are just saying, you know what, it's going to be. You'll be able to do what you like, kind of thing.
No, they're trying to make it as appealing as possible.
Absolutely,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is smart on their behalf, because at the end of the day, they're getting their asses handed to them by bloody, Nintendo, and even like a lot of Apple's iOS devices are pretty much, they're definitely doing better than what Sony's done as far as the handheld market goes. So any little tiny thing they can do to kind of make it more appealing to the consumer, they're going to try it, and I think that's smart.
Yeah.
So import your games, get them from wherever you want, they'll play. Great, awesome.
We need to stop doing that.
Yeah. So here's something that we alluded to in yesterday's show, as we were talking about the Nintendo press conference. We mentioned that they showed off a lot of cool AAA third-party titles for the Wii U console.
Yeah.
The new version of the Wii that's as powerful as the PS3 and 360.
Yeah.
Graphics-wise. Awesome controller thing, which apparently you're only going to be able to use one of those controllers with the actual console.
Yeah,
therefore, you're not going to have the option to buy another one. That's not really going to be a thing. Even if you bought another one, it wouldn't work right?
Yeah, I think we talked about that yesterday.
Yeah, but now it's made official that you can only use one controller, and there is inkling that you can use the 3DS with it. That's also something that's going to be possible. So I'm guessing you can have the tablet controller and a 3DS and perhaps do things. Who knows?
I did say
crazy combination they'll think up next.
Yeah, I did say that it would be cool before it was even announced back when it was still Project Cafe.
Yeah, definitely.
That it would be cool if it was like a touchscreen, whether you could use like a 3DS as a controller for it.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah.
But anyway, the main story I was going to talk about is we actually, speaking about those AAA titles and the footage they showed off, we kind of had our inkling that it wasn't all running on the Wii U hardware.
Yeah,
for a number of reasons.
I thought that was pretty much a given. I think it was just
fair enough. I mean, we personally understand the reasons for this. Maybe other people don't, so we'll kind of explain it. But like, when people throw trailers together, I mean, they'll take it from whatever system they can get the footage from, obviously. Yeah. So you might get a trailer show up on on PS3, for example, or under the PS3 category of a certain website that's actually it actually shows 360 footage or whatever. You never know. But so it's done all the time. But I think basically because a lot of these games they will run, but they just haven't got them up and running yet.
Yeah, it's the whole sort of porting process.
Yeah, but then here's like, we've also got to show footage of these games, otherwise how can we impress people? So, obviously they're going to use 360 and PS3 footage, but that was basically they admitted to it, which is smart of them, obviously. They didn't deny it.
I think when they put them up, they said they just said these are the games that will be coming to it.
Yeah, they never claimed that this is what. Yeah, they never claimed that that's what it was going to exactly look like, but. Once again, though, it's one of those things that is a little bit misleading because some people perhaps thought that's exactly what they're trying to say. But I know that Aliens Colonial Marines apparently is running on it. They've got it there running, but that's one of the few games out of that list that they've got running on it. But still pretty cool. I'm looking forward to seeing where they really take it as far as marketing goes as well. Because I think it's going to confuse a lot of people.
It confused the hell out of us.
It confused us to begin with because it was like, well, are you unveiling a console or a controller? They was very, very unspecific about it to begin with, and it's like, it was obviously got to be a new console altogether. But yeah, so that's pretty much all the kind of little news stories that I've gathered the last day or so that we didn't have yesterday. So let's get cracking with our little lists that we've got. We've compiled our own lists of games that we thought were impressive and not so impressive and things like that.
I think your list is definitely more impressive than mine.
I think we need to start with what we were least impressed by.
Yeah.
That'd be a good place to start. And then we'll do most impressed and then ones to watch or something like that. So, do you want to go first?
Oh, I think all together now on the count of 3. Top of our list of least impressed.
It's Medieval Moves.
Yeah.
And I don't... Once again, it seems obvious that I would pick this. I mean, not obvious, but I come across as a bit of a Sony hater. I'm worried about that, actually.
Yeah.
But I'm really not.
No.
At all. But this game looks really horrible. And to be honest with you, at this point, I think the one weak point of Sony's press conference was the Move stuff, which was a shame because, people have gone out over the holiday season and bought these peripherals, and you're giving us this shit, it's like, it wasn't impressive last E3 when they were showing off sorcery and things.
No, it's like... Medieval Moves is very much this year's sorcery.
And it's like, exactly what you suggested, and it's just like, the other day or whatever, but like, it just seems like so lackluster with the Move stuff. Oh yes, we've got, Vita and we've got some other cool games coming out, but, and they said, Resistance 3's got Move support, and this game's got Move support, and that's got Move support. Yeah, most of the games that are coming out are going to have Move support, but we want to see the Move support. And that, to me, seemed, like they showed the weakest stuff, to be honest. So top of my list is Medieval Moves, just because I couldn't, for starters, I couldn't make it what the fuck it was. And then when I figured it out, I was like, oh, really? This is what you're showing us? This is the sort of game that just should be on the showroom floor that you just stumble across and go, oh yeah, not something that you're putting in front of people at a press conference. I just think it seemed a bit lame. And as for and I'm not saying this about the game, but I'm just saying about the Move support element to the game is the, was it NBA 2K12?
Yeah. A point-and-click adventure.
A point-and-click adventure basketball game. I mean... That was just the biggest fucking joke for me. I just like, really? That's really what you're doing? That's how you're adding move support to this game?
Yeah.
I just thought it was, and it was, you know what I mean? And after that medieval moves and that comes out, come on. It's like they're not taking the move seriously enough now. It's like, we're just going for here's some shit, you know, you'll buy it, you know, and it's, no, but, and then the weirdest thing was, it's this whole weird juxtaposition, because on my list also, for most impressed, which I will get into, but the Vita, for example, right, was extremely impressive.
Yeah.
And yet they showed off, it's like they're not showing enough love to the move, or not at least demoing enough good stuff for the move in the press conference, and it was a bit of a shame, really, to be honest with you. So those were the two on the top of my list. So
yeah, my other sort of biggest, well, one that really did not impress me was a game called Gotham City Imposters.
Oh yes, yeah, I've heard about this. Just explain it to me. Well, not to me because I know what it is, but to everybody else.
It's an online shooter, and it's set in Gotham City, you know, DC Universe, home of Batman, all that. But it's not got Batman or anything in it. You play a generic citizen dressing up, like Batman with a gun. Yeah, and it's kind of like, I looked at it and thinking, yeah, this game looks awful. You know, it looks very, very generic.
It's
one of those things where, okay, they're slapping the Batman brand on this.
Exactly.
Why?
It's probably, the game came around and it's like, oh, this is the game and it's just really shit and awful. What can we do to it to make it a little bit more interesting and maybe make it appeal to other people? Batman it up. You know, literally have it set in Gotham City and just loosely kind of, tackle a lot of that stuff on. That's what it seemed like to me anyway. But I agree with you on that one. That isn't actually on my list, but I will agree with you. It looks like shit. Yeah.
And, you know, there's like another couple ones also.
You know, apologies to any, I'm doubtful, but if anyone's listening that makes any of these games and we're ripping on them, you know, apologies, but it looks like shit. Yeah. I'm no developer. I'm no, you know, but just saying.
Well, this is the thing is, I'm a huge Batman fan.
Yeah.
I've been reading the comics for so long, and this to me is just a travesty, and is kind of like the very reason why there have been no good Batman games, is because shit like this keeps happening. Yeah. But I will balance it out later with my most impressed games.
Okay. Well, I've got one on my list that you haven't actually got on your list, but I think you'll agree with me, is Connect Star Wars.
Yeah, I missed that one.
yeah, could you? It's once again, it's just, I mean, I had to throw that in after you talking about what you just said, but like, it's just one of those things where, you know, it's a cash in. It's a heavy cash in. Though, you know, at least it has a little bit more to do with Star Wars than, you know, the Gotham City thing has to do with Batman.
True.
I'm just saying, it's still awful.
Yeah.
It looks bad. You know, graphics looked fairly inconsistent, to be honest. There's part of it looked okay. And just, it looked really lagtastic, like really sort of, like it
says a lot when you're kind of more impressed by the Sesame Street game than the Star Wars game.
Exactly. Well, yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's pretty much high on the list there. Connect Star Wars. Yeah. I think personally we all kind of knew it was going to be shite, and I think we even joked a lot about it when we had the guys from Underground Geek Network on it. It was just kind of like, you know, Connect Star Wars. Hey, somebody will buy it. It'll make money. Let's pray it doesn't spawn a sequel.
Yeah. Okay, here's one for me.
Okay.
I've put a couple of things here, but I think I'm going to generalise it a bit. Movie tie-in games.
Okay, well, throw at me the titles you've got written there, because there's some beauties.
Green Lantern, Rise of the Manhunters.
Yep.
Captain America, Super Soldier. And I'm going to vote for the Star Trek one as well.
Really?
Really.
Yeah.
Although it looked alright, you just know it's a movie tie-in game. It's not going to be any good.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a real shame, but yeah. As far as the Green Lantern and that goes, those games don't look very good at all. The Captain America game, I kind of
see. I've got high hopes of the films, but
yeah. So you know, it's the thing. It's not just the fact that it's just a movie tie-in. It's a comic book property as well, and it's it's one of those things where it's a double. It's like it's both things, and it's like, you know, you've got. I don't know. Yeah, it's just going to be pretty awful. So I can understand why you've got them on there.
You see, I think this sort of things, it's made by the people who are behind the movie, not the people who love the source
Yeah,
material.
yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, we've got all this, we'll just make a game and do that and kind of hope that it fits in with everything. And, that's not the way to do it. If you're going to make a game, you need to be passionate about it. You need to...
Captain America's a Marvel property, right?
Yeah.
Is this game made by Sega by any chance?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, just wondering.
Yeah.
Okay, it's fine. They have this... I don't know why they make games for them.
No.
They're all bloody awful. Anyways,
Yeah.
yes.
But, you know what? Just for once, I'd like somebody like say, oh yeah, this movie's coming out, we can make a game. Oh, we could make a really good game about it. It's not like that. It's like, how can we make money from it? That's what it
Well, the
boils down
movie's
to.
going to do okay, but just in case it doesn't, let's make sure we've got some other shit out there to sell.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can
Just
see
for
it.
once, I'd like somebody to say, you know what? This movie is going to be great. I reckon I could do a really good game and do something really innovative with it. Something amazing. But it's not going to happen. Not ever.
Okay, well, next on my list, and speaking of Sega, actually, is a game that we've sort of had screenshots of and not really seen a lot of gameplay of, and I like some of the developer and team's other works, but Anarchy Reigns does not look that great to me.
No.
And it's basically from Platinum Games and the sort of team that did Mad World for the Wii, and I was more impressed with that game than what I've seen of this. And it does not look very good at all. It just doesn't look
right.
It doesn't look good. I don't know. There's just something about it. It just looks
rubs you up the wrong way.
Awful. Yeah, I don't want this game rubbing me at all. Either way, it just
chafes in all the wrong places.
it just does not look good. And fair enough. Some people out there might be excited for this and look at it and think this is the best game ever, but not me.
No.
So that's on there. What else you got?
Controversial one. Soul Calibur 5.
Not really. No, I can see where that's. I don't actually see much of this.
I like the Soul Calibur games.
Yeah, no, me too. I like the original one.
I always have it. Yeah.
Have the original on the Dreamcast. It's amazing.
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. And 5 is kind of like, oh yeah, we're doing all this and blah 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 and showing this. I'm like looking at it and thinking, you know what, it looks exactly the same as 4. And everybody's going, oh yeah, but no, this is set however many years later. There's all different characters and blah blah blah. I'm like, really? You play this for the story? The story is fucking awful.
Yeah, definitely.
The voiceovers are atrocious.
It may take a leaf out of Mortal Kombat's book though, and maybe try and do something there, because that was the one game that I think the one fighting game that's actually got a fucking story to it.
Yeah.
Not an amazing one, but it's told in a very interesting way, and it works. It's the only fighting game story that's ever worked.
Yeah.
So
whereas this felt very much Soul Calibur 5, very much sort of flogging a dead horse now. They need to do something different.
It's a shame because it was once a decent franchise, and they've just fucked it.
Yeah.
So
right in the arsehole.
4 times.
Yeah.
What? Right in the
arsehole.
Okay. Right. There's no need for that. I doubt we have children listening to this.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to kind of lump this into one here, but now don't get me wrong. I'm generalising this to what was seen at a certain time. Okay. Now, the Gears 3 campaign demo that was shown at the Microsoft press conference was not as impressive to me as I hoped it would be.
No.
Last year's was.
Yeah.
Maybe because it was all shiny and new. We'd never seen any campaign footage before, and since then we've played the beta and things like that. And I was just kind of hoping for a bit more. Now, interestingly enough, get the Gears 3 campaign stuff. They only kind of showed us half they missed a trick because there was a bit more they could have shown us.
Yeah.
And not to go into too much detail about it, but they basically they've shown bits and pieces of some stuff that happens after.
Yeah.
And they play with time a little bit, where it jumps backwards and you get to play as different characters and stuff. I don't know how that works if you're playing 4-player co-op or whether it's just in 2-player or 1-player. I don't know. But you get to play as Cole and stuff like that on the bridge or whatever. Yeah, while the gunfight's going on,
goes on simultaneously. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So they are kind of toying with time a little bit there, and that stuff they could have shown off and said, hey, we're doing something a little bit interesting here. They didn't show that, and that would have been a little bit more impressive to me. But overall, what I saw was good. It was probably technically quite a good thing, but we've seen a similar kind of little boss battle type thing in the second game, and it just seemed like that really.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just a shinier, nicer looking version with mechs. I mean, the mechs were great, don't get me wrong. I fucking love the idea of mechs in Gears. But, yeah, I just kind of wanted a bit more out of it.
To me, it just felt, you know what, you've juiced us up enough. We're excited for it. We are really, really excited for it. No amount
The game should be out already, but it's not. Let's just show us something amazing. They did show us something amazing, but not at the conference. And that's something I'll get into later. But, yeah.
It's the fact that last year they said, "Oh, are you excited about it? Are you excited about it?" And we were like, "Yes, yes, yes, we are." And then this year it's like, "Are you excited? Are you excited?" And I kept poking. We're like, well, "Yeah, we already told you we are."
Pretty much are. Just fucking game ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So, a bit of a shame that it did impress me more. Maybe some people were just like, "Oh my god, this is amazing," but, you know. And the addition of Ice-T on stage didn't do much for me. So... No, you know, fair enough. Stick to rapping. Anyways, so what I was going to lump in with that is the Modern Warfare 3 demo that started the Microsoft press conference.
Yeah, and we talked a bit about it on Tuesday, didn't we? Don't
get me wrong, I do like Call of Duty. I'm not ashamed to admit that, as some people are, but you know, I had my doubts about this game because it's not Infinity Ward as we know it, and there's another team working in there with them to kind of get it done on time. Is it going to feel rushed? Is it going to be any good? You know, and don't get me wrong, the trailers we saw before E3 were all good, and I was hyped up for it. And they showed us this gameplay demo, and it just did not feel that exciting to me. And I felt like they could have probably shown something a little bit more interesting, and it just didn't quite deliver for me. And I think last year's Black Ops demo that Treyarch did won me over more, made me more confident, because I had my kind of worries about Black Ops as well, but you know, that kind of the Black Ops demo they showed last year did a lot more for me than this one for this game. So I'm still going to buy it and play it, and probably will enjoy it, and it's probably going to be great, but it's not won me over completely yet, so it's a bit of a shame.
It was a very sort of slow stage.
Yeah, so I wasn't impressed by the demo. That's not to say I'm not going to be impressed by the overall game.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much it. I think you've got one more thing on your list.
I've got three.
You've got three?
Yeah.
Jesus, okay.
So you've got one.
Oh, yeah. Silent Hill Downpour.
Yeah.
Now, Silent Hill's probably one of the only scary games I ever kind of played through.
I like
the original one.
I like me some Silent Hill.
Yeah, the original one. And, you know, Silent Hill's probably the reason why I don't play scary games anymore.
Yeah, it's true.
So, you know what, and with this generation, with games becoming more cinematic and graphics becoming better and sound design and everything, you know, it's the perfect time for a really good Silent Hill game.
Yeah.
And every time they announce a new Silent Hill, I think, oh, is this going to be good? Is this going to be
I played
terrifying?
A little bit of Homecoming. I haven't really played through it. I actually do have it somewhere sat around collecting dust. I haven't really played it, but I'm sure it's an okay game.
Yeah, it's
pretty. I'm sure it's pretty average. I think it got fairly average reviews, but I still picked it up.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have been saying that all the Silent Hill games, following on from the originals, have not been anywhere near as good. And I'm just sort of thinking it's about time we get like a really, really good one. And sort of every time they do it, they announce a new Silent Hill. I think, oh, is this going to be the one that's as good as the original? And no.
Well, I see some footage earlier and it looked okay. I didn't really think much of it. It's sort of...
I can't...
It could have made my ones to watch list, but didn't. I mean, I didn't... I'm going to wait to see a lot more before I get anywhere near excited about this.
Graphically, I can't pick out what's wrong with it, but I look at it and there's just something that just seems a bit off.
Okay.
And not quite as good. And you know what? It just sort of seems, story-wise... It's the same story. It's just different people in the same thing.
Yeah.
In the same area, in the same town, going through the same shit. And you know what? I want something different, or I want a remake of the original.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people probably feel the same way, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. I mean, I don't know how I feel about it yet. I'm going to wait until I see a lot more about it, and you know, maybe I'll get this, but we'll see. So I've got three more to talk about my least impressed, and so Devil May Cry the reboot. There's a trailer put up with gameplay footage. Yeah. Now obviously it's still in development. There's a lot that needs to be done to it work wise, but they put a trailer out, and no.
Well, you see, this didn't quite make my thing with it. I looked at it, I saw the gameplay trailer, and I thought, you know what, it looks alright, but it's probably going to play just like the old ones.
That's what I figured. I don't even think it looked alright. I just thought it looked pretty awful, but
I don't think I watched like a proper high def one of it, though. I think maybe I watched
I wasn't impressed anyways. I thought it looked pretty. I mean, still in development, so hopefully it looks a lot nicer when it's done. But even still, I agree with you. It kind of seems like the same gameplay mechanics. It doesn't seem like they're doing anything really different with it, other than making it look a little different. And do you know what I mean? So yeah. Dance Central 2 is on my list. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Dance Central, but let's be honest. Is this impressive? The fact that adding, same time multiplayer and it's a bunch of new songs. It's the same game. It looks exactly the same. You could argue this about Rock Band and various other games that I enjoy, but
this could.
I still have my issues with those games.
Yeah,
that is basically I'm paying money for a game that looks exactly the same and has a few little tweaks and a new set list, and that is it. And these are songs that I could have downloaded and spent a lot less money on, and things like that. But
I kind of think maybe this could have been just like a title update or like an expansion thing that you could buy.
Say it. I mean, they admitted openly that in the original Dance Central they could have done the multiplayer side by side thing because it was actually doable by Kinect. Obviously, because there are a lot of games that you have split screen on and stuff like that,
and this is what the first one should have been.
Yeah, so that's kind of that's why I'm not as impressed by it, because I'm not saying it's not going to be a good game, it's not going to be fun, it's not going to sell well. I'm not saying it at all. I'm saying is overall, when you compare Dance Central 1 and 2, there's not that much difference. To me, there's not a big reason to go out and buy it other than just a whole bunch of new songs, half of which you probably won't even enjoy anyway. So I'm just saying, they could have said, here's a massive title update that's going to freshen things up a little bit. And here's a pretty cool. There's a bunch of packs of songs that you can download and pick which ones you want, sort of thing. So yeah, it is kind of more of the same again. It's the annualization of things.
Yeah.
So a bit of a shame, but maybe they've got some stuff they haven't shown off that's revolutionary and sets it aside from the first one. But not that I can really tell other than the kind of the multiplayer side of it.
Okay.
All kept local. Apparently, there's no online or anything.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, the experience is supposed to be enjoyed locally anyway, so I kind of get that. But then the last game I've got on my list.
Now I'm going to argue this one with you.
Ah, fuck you. Sonic Generations.
Why? Why is it on your list?
Have you seen the fucking gameplay?
Yeah.
It looks like shit.
Really?
I don't think it looks good. I do not think it looks good. I don't think it looks enjoyable. I don't think it's what's the argument that it's a throwback to the originals? I don't think it's that much of a throwback to the originals.
Well, the classic Sonic levels,
No, they don't look that much like... It doesn't seem to me... I don't know. I don't think it's that impressive at all. I think basically what they've done is said, you know what? There are a certain small amount of people that enjoy the 3D Sonic. There is a lot of people that like the 2D Sonic. Throw it all together. What do you get? Sonic Generations. Yippee. That's 20 odd years of Sonic, yay. It just don't seem like they've really put all that much effort into it. I don't think it looks that great. I'm not that excited about it at all. I've given them a lot of chances to make a decent Sonic game lately, and it's just not happened, and this is what we get. Well,
I think when I look at like the classic Sonic side of it, it's kind of what I wanted Sonic 4 to be. And, it looks faster. It looks like it's got that same sort of speed and everything that the original had. I mean, you look back at like some of the early levels. I think they've shown off some new levels and everything. Are a bit more kind of.
Don't get me wrong. This could change. Something might come along and change my mind. They might bring out some more footage that looks even better. And they might do some things. I don't know. Like, at the moment, not impressed. And it was brought to my attention more because you made a big deal out of it when we spoke about it in the pre-E3 show. And I just kind of wanted to air my opinion on it because I just didn't think it was that great. So don't get me wrong. I, as much as anybody, want this game to be good and want a decent Sonic game, so I can kind of go, you know what? Here's the game that I used to enjoy when I was a lot younger and first got into video games and stuff. And this is a fair representation. Well, not when I first got into video games, but when I was like 8, I was playing Sonic, and I have fond memories of playing those games, and they're still classics even now. And I just don't think this fairly represents that experience.
It's nostalgia goggles, really. I think I've got a soft spot for old retro gaming.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
stuff.
don't get me wrong, I have too, but I just don't feel that is, you know.
You know what? You make a fair point.
I just looking at it, I was just like, really? This is, I mean, they are trying to do stuff, and I can kind of see sort of where they're coming from with some of it, and it's just like, I just want it to be better. I just want it to be kind of like the originals. Let's just fucking do the HD remixes of the fucking originals.
Yeah.
That'll do. I'll be happy with that. Anyway, so that's kind of my least impressed list. It's quite long, and we've talked already for quite a while about that, so let's crack on. Let's go ones to watch now. Let's just kind of talk about the games that haven't really impressed us. Maybe have come out of left field and gone, and piqued our interest. Ones that we're not going to go out on a limb and say, this game's fucking amazing, you know. I've got Inversion, which is a shooter.
Yeah, I watched the trailer and yours earlier.
And although games have done it before, traversing different planes and stuff and kind of, you know, playing with gravity and things like that,
they've not looked quite as nice as this.
It does it in a quite a cool way, where it looks quite manic and kind of a bit OTT, but in a good way. And I'm intrigued by this. It looks like it could be quite good. I've heard some good things from people who've seen it and played it. It's sort of been on my radar for a little bit, and I've seen some stuff about it now. There's a bit of gameplay out there, and it does look quite cool. It looks like it plays like Gears, which is probably not a bad thing, but, you know, there's some innovation, but there's a lot of kind of borrowing from other stuff. But it could be quite an enjoyable experience. So I'm just saying, it doesn't look overly amazing. Graphics-wise, it looks okay, it looks fine. But it's because, you know, the potential's there. That's kind of what we're saying with some of these games. So Inversion, I've got Ghost Recon Future Soldier, but mainly for the... I mean, it looks great. I probably would get this game and play it even if it didn't have Kinect support, because obviously, I play on the controller on that, but I'm interested to see how the Kinect support works.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't really demoed off, and that for me is I want a decent shooter that I can play with Kinect. My prediction is that it will play all right.
Yeah.
It won't be the solution to an FPS using Kinect. It'll be a way to do it. It'll be a bit clunky. It won't feel right. You probably will end up resorting back to the controller and playing it that way.
Yeah.
But it's the first wave of these kind of hardcore titles for Kinect. So I want to play it and get my hands on it and see how good or bad it is. And, you know, that's sort of why it's on my list. But hopefully it cracked and it's fucking amazing and you can play the whole game and it's brilliant. That's what I'm hoping, but that's kind of unlikely. But it's a stepping stone, you know?
Yeah.
So, interested with that. What else you got? Or what have you got?
I've got Overstrike. Did you see the trailer of that?
I've not yet seen that, unfortunately. No, I will have to check it out.
Yeah.
I did see... Well, it isn't actually on my list, but I did see the Brothers in Arms, the Furious 4 trailer. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But no, what's it called? Overstrike.
Overstrike.
It's the Insomniac Games one that's multi-plat.
Yeah.
Yeah, multi-platform.
Yeah.
I didn't get
It's
to
going
check
to
it
be.
out.
It's going to be like a class-based co-op.
Yeah.
4-player. I'm guessing shooter.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's got like the manic weapons that Insomniac are known for and stuff. But I think what kind of brought it to my attention was the humour. I'm a sucker for funny games, humour in games. Like I loved Portal 2 just because of the humour and everything, and the original Portal and all that. And this trailer genuinely made me chuckle a little bit.
Awesome.
So, you know, it looks pretty cool. I mean, the premise is nothing new. It's kind of like a sci-fi commando sort of team of misfits going in and doing their stuff with all sorts of gadgets. But just the way it was presented kind of stuck with me. So that's why that's on my list there.
Awesome.
The other one is Luigi's Mansion
2. Yeah. For 3DS?
3DS, yeah. Just because I remember playing the original, and you know what? Luigi doesn't get enough
No,
credit.
that's true. Yeah, it's true. Oh, awesome. Okay, well, I've got the Sesame Street Once Upon a Monster. Yeah. Game for Kinect from Double Fine, Tim Schafer's company, and
I know exactly what my nephew would say to you if he heard that.
No, I'm just saying it's, you know, once again, I've got a bit of soft spot for Sesame Street, you know, but like it's it's like you've got just for that, you know, it's one of those games that you just can't help but feel, you know what, this is kind of cool. I kind of like it, you know, and I am a family orientated person. I have kids and that, so it is kind of, you know, one that I'm keeping an eye on and seeing whether it's worth getting or not. Because, you know, there are plenty of titles out there for the casual gamer and for kids and stuff for Connect, but very few of them are any good. And so I'm kind of hoping that's going to be one of them. It's going to be good.
The one thing that kind of spoils this game for me, I think, is Family Guy and their depiction of the Cookie Monster.
Yeah.
Now
you've said that. No, I'm probably not going to get this.
No.
Another one of mine is Dead Island. Now, as much
Yeah.
as we've spoken about this on the show already, you know, it looks interesting. It looks like they're doing some fairly cool stuff. Nothing very innovative stuff that's all been done before, but it still looks like it's going to be quite enjoyable.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to get too excited about it. I just don't see that it's... They've given mixed messages about it because they have that... the original trailer was all kind of
awesome.
Emotional and all that kind of stuff. There's none of that in it. It's just fucking cutting motherfucking zombies into pieces.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, that sounds great and everything, but... it's kind of like they don't really know how to market this game in a way. But, you know, it looks kind of cool. Sort of open world, 4-player co-op. I'm interested to see how that works. Not going to get too excited about it because it could turn out to be a bit of a...
Tripe fest.
Yeah, indeed. So we'll see. But what else have you got?
I have got Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine.
Okay.
Now, I was excited about this before. It's been teased and there's been like this long thing. I'm a Warhammer fan. Yes, I am officially a geek now. But it looks alright. It looks interesting. It's my sort of thing. It's got a lot of comparison with Gears, except this doesn't actually have a cover system. Because in the story you play like a big armoured space marine, you kind of presume that you are literally a walking brick wall. So it looks cool. I'm invested in the universe anyway. It's one of those things where it's a media. They get the tabletop game and books and all sorts of stuff there is there. I'm interested in that and the story in that and all that, and then transferring over and not wanting to play like a good game about it. And you know, it's by THQ, and they did The Dawn of War, which I thought was a fairly good representation of it. Not entirely. I'm just looking forward to seeing this. From what I've seen, looks pretty much as I was expecting it to from gameplay we've seen ages and ages ago. It looks like hasn't done anything to make me go, oh, wow, yeah, that's looking really good. It's kind of like looking, yeah. It's looking as good as what I'm expecting. And It's not exceeded my expectations. That's why it's on my one to watch list.
Okay.
And also, Rayman Origins.
Yeah, you mentioned this.
It's what the Ubisoft press conference opened with, and it was a really weird choice of just watching them play that. But at the same time, I like the old 2D Rayman games, and you know, I like what they can do now, where bringing 2D games into HD and having them look nice and really nicely animated. So it's basically like playing a cartoon. Yeah, and this looks sort of with the co-op and everything. It just looks fun to play. So, kind of excited about that. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I've got on my list Prototype 2. Now, I am excited for this game. I really want this game to be good. The only reason I've seen, you know, recently seen a few trailers and a bit of this, that and the other, and it looks fine, but my major concern was the first game. It was, you know, it was good, it was enjoyable, but it looked horrible, and, you know, I want this game to be so much better than that, to deliver on the promise of the first game, and that's kind of why I'm not going to build my hopes up for it, and that's why it's in this list. But I also have Saints Row the Third. Now, I'm a big Saints Row fan. Yeah. I like the first two games. I still haven't finished the second one, actually, I don't think, but I finished the first one, and it was quite cool. With this one, I'm kind of... I don't know. Am I over it? I'm not sure. Whether or not I'm going to enjoy this as much as I expect to, or expected with the first two, I don't know. I haven't seen enough personally. And
is Gary Busey involved in the marketing?
I don't think so.
Oh, that's kind of a big turn off.
Yeah, exactly. Me. Yeah, definitely. You have to bring that up. Not a. So yeah, can I say that? As
who, me or Gary?
You, for legal reasons.
For safety reasons.
Yeah, agreed. But Saints Row the Third looks okay. I mean, I haven't really made my mind up about it yet, so I'm kind of keeping an eye on that one. I'm sure you've got some more.
Yep. Dragon's Crown by Vanillaware. Sorry, I showed you the thing. Yeah. I remember saying on the show, I think, a few weeks ago, how cool it would be is, I think it was when Mortal Kombat came out. It was the old sort of 2D, 16-bit era kind of fighter being given a HD, 3D makeover and all that. I said, wouldn't it be cool if games like Streets of Rage and Golden Axe were given that?
Yeah.
And along comes this. Okay,
not quite Streets of Rage. It was a little bit more like Golden Axe than Streets of Rage.
Yeah, it's kind of like when I first saw it, I thought, "Oh, this is Golden Axe," and then I saw kind of the weird sexualized things.
Some of the huge norks on some of these characters.
Yeah. I mean,
big asses and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
very strange.
But it's drawn in a really sort of nice, sort of fancy
art
style.
It actually looks quite good.
And
I could probably get behind this game.
Yeah, and despite all the norks, because you know what, Golden Axe had norks.
Yeah, a little bit of boobage, but this has got some and some. Yeah. So,
but
interesting.
You know, it looks all right. It's got that sort of nice, the way it's drawn and how it animates and everything. It looks interesting. Yeah. So I'll get behind that. The other one,
I bet you would. Go on.
Other one is Never Dead.
Yeah, from Konami, I do believe. Here's the thing. I watched some gameplay of this recently, and although I really like the concept of it.
Yeah, it's the concept more than anything.
Yeah, I just didn't think it looked that great. I didn't think it looked like it played very well. I didn't think a lot to the gameplay. But the concept's cool. I like some of the ideas they've got in there. It could be really fun.
Yeah. I think it's going to be one that's more... I think the story is going to be stronger than the gameplay.
It's basically, like, you can rip your arm off and throw it, and
even if you're just a head, you can like roll around.
Yeah, you can still move around the
bite people's ankles.
It's got some funny shit in there, and I don't buy the rest of it, kind of thing. Like, I don't know. I just think it's
it's the sort of thing from the trailers and all that. I could imagine it being like really good TV series.
Yeah, possibly.
Probably better, more sort of like an animated, kind of slightly more grown up, darker, kind of HBO shit sort of series thing.
I could probably see that. Yeah, you're right. You got a point there. That's pretty cool. Yeah,
so,
I see what you're saying.
We'll see, but like I said, for the sheer concept alone.
Yeah. No, don't get me wrong. I do like the concept. This almost made it on my ones to watch list actually, but I don't know. I didn't think enough of it really at this point to put it on any of these lists. But I can see where you're coming from with that. The next things I've got are two Kinect titles. I'm briefly going to go over these. Kinect Sports Season 2. I enjoyed a lot of the first. I enjoyed the first Kinect Sports game. It's one of the few Kinect launch titles that was actually decent, I think, and so I'm up for more of this. I don't know if the sports really appeal to me as much as the first lot did, but
the golf's
pretty cool. And the darts might be kind of cool. I forget what else is in there. The skiing,
American football,
or
just football.
So I don't know. This could be kind of a. I'm sure it's going to be... If it's anything like the first game, it probably will be. It'll still be fun, but I'm just kind of not sure.
It's one of those ones which is less of a direct sequel and more of a companion to the first one.
Yeah,
just gives you more
worth parting with that money for it. I probably will still get it.
Yeah.
And Sega's adult venture into Kinect is Rise of Nightmares, which I don't know if you know about. It was announced at TGS, Tokyo Game Show last year. It's one of those.
Because they announced a lot of Kinect games and stuff.
This is kind of like there's a teaser for it, and they're never really. I've seen a bit of gameplay because it's been shown off at E3.
Oh, I've missed the gameplay
and
on this entirely.
It looks all right. You kind of fighting the undead and killing them aiming them in various ways, and they have this whole. It's a first-person game, and to move around, you kind of put your foot forward, or if you want to move backward, put your foot backwards. Or stand still to stand still, and kind of move to it kind of.
Alright.
It's kind of the first foray into kind of third person games that aren't on, or first person games, sorry, that aren't on rails as such.
So you move around by doing the robot.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Kind of, yeah. So we'll see how that pans out. A lot of people said it's kind of not really scary and it's a bit of a joke at the moment, but. I like kind of the ideas behind it. I like what they're trying to do. I hope this is a very enjoyable and visceral experience, but I don't know. There's mixed reviews on it and stuff at the moment, so we'll see.
Okay.
But that's pretty much my ones to watch list.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's probably more, but more than it.
All I've got is the Sly Cooper Thieves in Time.
Mm-hmm.
Saw some gameplay of that.
Yep.
Looks very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Looks kind of similar to the old ones, but they've done some new stuff with it.
Yeah.
So I can't really say much more than that. You're just going to have to check yourself.
Before you wreck yourself.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
But no, it's kind of like, if you're not a Sly fan, this won't appeal to you. But if you are, then you probably know about this already. So what's the point of me talking about it?
Okay, fair dues.
So that, and Deus Ex Human Revolution, seen some more gameplay of that and still liking.
So why is this not on your impressed list?
Because although I've seen it, it's not made me go. I've looked at it and thought, yeah, that looks good. But we saw some gameplay a little while ago. And that was,
yeah,
and it's kind of like, okay, yeah, I've seen it, I just want the game now, because it's not far off before it's released now.
Yeah. Okay, so, well, there. We'll crack on, because we're nearly getting up to an hour here. Our most impressed game, so this is the games out of E3 2011 that we have been the most impressed by, and we'll give our reasons for it.
For me, this was probably like the easiest list, because the ones that I was hoping... that I wanted to see more are the ones that impressed me. Yeah. So it's kind of no surprises here. There's 2 surprises on mine, and that's it.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start I've got it in a list of order, and almost, I guess, but I'm going to start at the bottom, so it kind of we end with sort of the most impressed stuff, basically.
Okay.
I'm starting with Shinobi for the 3DS.
Yeah.
Because that does look really good, and like I say, I like retro games and stuff. Games we used to like. I used to play Shinobi and love it. And this seems like a really cool new take on that feels the same to me. And that's what I kind of was hoping out of the Sonic game, but I just did not get that vibe watching the gameplay. And they're totally different. So Shinobi's up there. Rise, the Crytek Roman-style battling first-person game for Kinect. Yeah. That has the potential to be something amazing. And that actually, even though it wasn't any gameplay, it was a kind of a shitty little trailer that doesn't mean anything. That still impressed me.
The concept.
I'm easily won over by these little... the idea is great. I really want to play it. I want to get hands on with this and see what it's like. But that's just me. I mean, a lot of people might be like, yeah, whatever, this is going to be shit. But,
we'll see.
But then a lot of people probably like Star Wars Connect, so whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like it's going to be... Well, it looks proper hardcore. It looks fairly gory.
Yeah. So. I mean, I'm kind of...
It's nice to have like a grown-up game utilising Connect to the fullest. Cause
that's what I'm kind of hoping it's.
A lot of the hardcore Connect titles that we've seen have just been hardcore titles that utilise Connect in some way.
But this is a full-on Connect title, as far as I know, anyway. So there's that. What you got?
Mario Kart 3D.
Awesome. No, yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, that probably should have made it on my list actually, because they did pretty cool.
Because
I love Mario Kart, and a lot of people do. So
and
3D, forget about it.
It's one of the few games that Nintendo actually showed off some gameplay of as well. It just looks amazing. There's the whole sort of customizing the carts and everything, and doing all sorts, and a bit where they were like changing and gliding and going through the water and all that, and it looks like a fun racer. It's the sort of thing that if it was on a console, I would get it and play it. And a handheld, forget about it. If it looks that nice, go for it.
Awesome.
Do it.
Press another title that you liked.
Other one, Battlefield 3.
Yep. This is pretty much on my list as well.
So I thought we'll talk about this one together.
Yeah, definitely. We'll talk about it now. It's fine. Battlefield 3, absolutely amazing looking.
I imagine it's probably higher on your list than it is on mine.
Yeah, it's pretty close to the top. It's I like the Battlefield games. I've not been like that into them because I've been more into the Call of Duty franchise. But I'm starting to think I'm going to start liking Battlefield a bit more because, I mean, to me, Modern Warfare 3 seems to be fine.
Standard,
yeah.
Yeah.
Battlefield 3 seems to be taking that kind of, similar genre to a new level. Not just graphics-wise or sound-wise, but, some of the things they've shown that you do in the game, to me, seems like this is... And yes, it's probably... has a mixture of realism to action, kind of a decent ratio there, which is good. I'm up for some more realism in games here and there, but I do like my high octane action. So I may play Call of Duty for the action side of it, and this Battlefield 3 for some slight more realism. Who
well,
knows?
for me, it's like they said, oh yeah, last year's Medal of Honor is supposed to be, oh yeah, it's supposed to be like really realistic.
Yeah, we've already
really
covered this, but
this looks kind of more real, more kind of like in that sort of thing, with still elements of the action and everything. What made me laugh is watching the live demo of this and having the live blog go on, people saying, oh god, it's so boring, he's just driving and blah 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 and all that, and I'm sort of looking at it and thinking, you know what, it looks beautiful, I could watch him drive for ages. And they did the whole shooting through the smoke and the smoke effects looking amazing, and sort of like the heat.
It's a real pimped out engine, and I'm liking that. So you know, not just because it looks amazing, but because it's probably going to be quite a good game as well. EA have made themselves very vocal about what they're trying to do here, and that is go after the Call of Duty crowd and fucking win them over and make the best possible game they can. And they've got a lot of drive behind them, so incentive to kind of pull through with that.
Yeah,
so.
And also with this, seeing some of the multiplayer footage and how that looks, and
well, yeah, because I mean the multiplayer side of Medal of Honor was actually made by DICE, and I actually think that was the best component of that fucking game. Yeah, because it was all right.
Yeah, totally. And
apart from the beta, which kind of blew, but it was a beta, so it's kind of expected. But other than that,
but no, it just looks phenomenal. Like the graphics and everything, they look as good as the main game, and you know, it looks like. I had to like do a double take, and I was like looking at it thinking, are you sure this is multiplayer? And I could see like the names over characters and everything, because I don't know, maybe it was like the people they got to play it or whatever in like the demo just moved around, but it didn't sort of, cause most multiplayer games you see people running about, they're kind of all over the place and all sorts, really, and you can tell that they're controlled by people. This just sort of seemed really sort of smooth, and like you were actually there fighting with people.
Yeah. Cool.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
Know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I'm going to kind of blitz through a little bit here. Far Cry 3 announced, awesome. I need to play some more Far Cry 2 and finish that, but you know, to me this looks way like violent and over the top and just fucking crazy, like Death from Above type shit with machetes and going to town on motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Really fucking pretty visceral, gory, hardcore violence.
Can I tell you the definition of insanity?
Nice. No, but like it's, you know, it looks awesome.
It looks
So high hopes for that. Darkness 2, obviously I'm a big fan of the first one, I've mentioned that already. Yeah, some of what they've shown of this is pretty fucking sweet. You know, I'm full on behind this game. Prey 2, I mean, you know, I played the first one, I still own it, it's a good game, but it's just nothing like the first one, which kind of probably is a good thing.
Yeah. But I remember we talked about the trailer and everything, and you said, yeah, the trailer's good, but will the game actually look like that? And you told me you'd seen gameplay.
I've seen gameplay, and it does look like that. Yeah. Well, it's pretty close to that anyway.
Yeah.
So it's basically like you play a bounty hunter. It's kind of Blade Runner. It's basically Blade Runner, right?
But with aliens instead of robots.
Yeah. So, I mean,
that's awesome.
That is fucking sweet. So I'm going to enjoy that.
Yeah, that Prey 2, that probably should have gone on my list as well.
One thing I've got on here, but not because it's my kind of game, but because it just impressed me, was Skyrim.
Yeah, that's pretty close to the top of mine, actually.
So Skyrim's on there, but mostly because it's an impressive game because of the scale of it and how good it looks, and
the fact that
just how much is in there.
They were showing off the 360 version, which everybody knows with games, as much as I hate to admit it, PC versions tend to look better because you can have more powerful hardware behind it.
Yeah.
This is the 360 version they were showing, and it looked gorgeous.
Yeah, it did look pretty amazing.
It's like the sense of scale and everything. They've always been known for like their sense of scale, and the Fallout games, they've had that, and they've had like mountains and everything, but overall it sort of felt fairly flat, kind of desert and all this, and this is walking through forests and everything. It looks real, and they've really sort of pimped up the animations and the graphics engines and everything, just the idea of it, and especially the dragons, these kind of like mini unscripted bosses that just kind of appear out of anywhere, can happen at any time, anywhere,
that's
and
pretty
can team up on you.
Well,
it adds that sort of element of peril, and it's kind of like, this is going to be like living in a Conan story.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, it's not my kind of game, but I from the demo and the gameplay and stuff, I was actually really impressed by it, and not enough for me to actually go and get it and play it. But,
no. This is a day one purchase.
Yeah, I know
for
it is
me.
for you, but yeah, it's impressed me.
And this has also got me really, really excited for Fallout 4 now.
Yeah.
Because this is going to be the engine that's running on.
Awesome.
So,
Well, right, okay, what else have you got then?
I've also got Assassin's Creed Revelations.
Yeah, what kind of news was coming?
Yeah. Seen the gameplay. I expected the gameplay to look better, and yeah, it did. Really kind of... It's one of those things where I said if they can keep releasing a game every year and it gets better and better and better rather than worse and kind of dragging, then okay. And it looks like they've really kind of tightened up their game now. They know what they're doing. They know where they're going and what needs doing. So, boom. Yeah, there it is. Literally, boom.
Awesome.
I've seen the gameplay demo, and it's kind of like, yeah, they've got the huge open world things, but they still have those kind of scripted cinematic sequences.
Yeah. And
you know what, I'm just really, really excited. I love the Assassin's Creed games, and I just cannot wait to get this. Another day one purchase for me.
Sweet.
Also, Batman Arkham City. We've seen some gameplay trailers and all that, and we've actually now seen demo of it actually being played, and sort of more of the travelling around, doing stuff, and how open it is, and you know what, I'm loving that. I loved the original game. I cannot wait for this.
Yeah, I admit I see some stuff, and it's like, wait, this game looks awesome.
Yeah. It's proper.
Yeah, it looks really nice.
Whereas Arkham Asylum, it's okay, yeah, this is like, oh yeah, you're Batman. You didn't feel like Batman because you were trapped in one place. Whereas this, you've now got the whole city. You can
that's cool. I like that more than definitely. That's cool. That's cool.
So,
okay, so next on my list, even though it's not really a game, is the PlayStation Vita.
Yeah,
and as a handheld console, very impressive. A lot of cool stuff in there. Just generally, just pretty fucking cool. I mean, I've got to be honest, Sony really impressed me this year with a lot of what they had to show off, and they never really do that. They did talk a lot of shit, and the apology helped, I think. Yeah. But they talked a lot of crap in between. But generally, what they had to show was pretty good.
I have to.
They do waffle a lot, but fuck it. What they had to show was kind of cool. Yeah. So the Vita's in there, and my next one on the list is Uncharted 3 and the Vita game Golden Abyss.
Yeah.
So that's, once again, Uncharted's amazing. So
yeah.
It's one of the few PlayStation exclusive franchises that I absolutely think is amazing.
Yeah.
So, and I don't really get behind. But unfortunately, I haven't played the second or third. Well, I haven't played the third one. It's not out, but I haven't played the second one.
Yeah.
And
I've not played the second one either.
And you actually own it. So
I actually own it.
I have a PlayStation 3. I don't.
This is why I can't get excited about Uncharted 3. I will get excited about Uncharted 3, and I will get it when I complete the second one. Now, I've just completed Infamous, and I've just got Infamous 2 a day early, so this will happen. I will get through them all at some point. And all that.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. I'm. It looks great, and I can't say enough about it. It seems awesome. We've talked about Battlefield 3, and that's on my list next, so we don't need to talk about that again. What else have you got?
Journey.
Yes.
This is the next. It's downloadable PlayStation exclusive by that game company. Mm-hmm. That is their actual name. I'm not just saying. These are the guys who did Flow and Flower.
Yeah.
Actually seen it and watched an interview with the creators and all that and the concept, and I just love it. I just love the simplicity of it. You wake up in a desert, you see a mountain, you think, right, I'm going to go there, and then you kind of look at all the space in between and just got to travel through it. I also love that it's kind of online, but completely different. You don't invite your friends into the game. People are just there. You don't know who they are. They've got no inclinations about who they are. Their name doesn't appear up there. You can't chat with them. You can't invite friends. They're just there. And it's like you've got no way of communicating with them apart from what you can do in the game, which is like bring up these little symbols or whatever that don't mean anything. So you kind of work out your own way of communicating with them. And if you see them going off somewhere and you think, oh, well, maybe I'll just follow them, you can do that. Cool. Or if you see what they're doing, you think, oh, right. So it's not cooperative, it's not competitive, it's just coexisting.
Yeah, that's quite mad. That's interesting. Yeah. I mean, nothing like that out.
No, really, like I said, there's no tutorial or anything. There's no set things of things that you must do. The only thing that you know is get to the mountain and do it however you want. And I just love that.
Awesome. All right, what else you got?
What else have I got? What haven't I mentioned?
Mass Effect 3?
Yeah. You know what? I'm not even going to talk about it.
Okay.
I'm going to save that for another time.
Okay, well, don't then. I'm going to mention Bioshock Infinite because even though I think they've just done a massive game, like a demo of it, so we'll probably see that online in the days to come. But and although we had a kind of shitty trailer, which wasn't shitty, but it just wasn't that great. I'm still constantly impressed by this game. I love Bioshock. I can't wait for this game. I think anyone who's listened to the show knows that I'm excited for this. And just the little things. And I mean, I know I talk about Ken Levine knows what he's talking about when it comes to game design and stuff. And you just need to listen to his the way he thinks and his ideas and how he implements them into games and stuff. It just he really does get it. Do you know what I mean? So I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be amazing. The move support, we'll see. Point and click. So I think a game that we can both agree on, which is pretty much the top of my list, but not quite.
Yeah, same here.
Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Now, I think I'd lost all faith in the Tomb Raider franchise way back. I haven't enjoyed a Tomb Raider since the early days.
Yeah. Yeah, same here. And I was totally the same. But I'm a sucker for a reboot. I'll say, okay.
Do you know what? Totally wasn't excited for this at all.
No. I saw some screens of it and I thought, it looks different. I'm not sure where they're going. Then I saw the trailer that was released a few days before E3 and I'm thinking, you know what? If they can get this sort of mood and atmosphere into the actual game, then I'll go for it. And then you call me up and say, you need to see the Tomb Raider gameplay. You need to see the Tomb Raider gameplay because I missed the very beginning of the Microsoft press conference first time around. I caught it later, but
impressed.
Just a bit.
Suitably impressed. Yeah, it won me over, and now I want this game. Simple as, and that's brilliant. That's exactly what it needs to do. So, and it's a shame because it came straight after the Modern Warfare 3 one, which I wasn't that impressed by.
Yeah,
sucks, huh? Anyway,
I don't know what sort of mad world do we live in? You're more excited by Tomb Raider than Modern Warfare 3.
I know. It's strange, but that's how it went for me anyway.
I think this is probably our biggest surprise of the show is Tomb Raider. Okay, it's the one that we were expecting nothing from.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what made it that far. But I will mention Gears 3 though. Now, oddly enough, I mentioned this in my least impressed. So how does that work? Okay, well, because the campaign demo.
So you're fickle.
Yeah, no, but the campaign demo did impress me, which I love Gears, and it's no secret. I've mentioned it on the show enough. But what did impress me though about Gears 3 is that they obviously they showed more Beast mode, which is sort of you play
anti-horde.
Yeah, anti-horde. But they showed the new Horde mode off
2.0.
Or the Horde mode if you're Ice-T.
The Horde mode.
Horde mode 2.0, right? And they've done some interesting things with it. They've taken a mode that's already quite popular, probably one of the most played online modes, and we played a shit ton of it. I absolutely love Horde mode, but what they're doing is mixing it up a little bit. They're adding a currency in there for a start. So when you start killing off locusts and stuff, you start earning currency. That then can go towards unlocking weapons, ammo and stuff in between, rounds and stuff, and waves of enemies. And yeah, basically they've kind of built this whole sort of tower defense type thing into it, where you build barriers and you can upgrade the barriers and spend money on that kind of stuff and pick your load out before the next wave. And you can literally, if you've got enough money, you can buy a mech, have that mech there, and just kind of buy turrets. You can exchange currency with your other members of your team. So if you need to have currency for them because they're not doing so well, if you need to keep them in guns and ammo, then you can just fob a bit over to your friends and stuff like that. And they're doing some really interesting stuff with Horde mode.
I think the whole thing was, the first one, it was just battling to survive in Horde mode originally, and this one is kind of like defense. This is proper, not just sort of holding up in a shed and trying to live through it. This is actually kind of like building a line of defence. Yeah,
absolutely, and keeping it. And, and they also didn't really allude to it, but there's like machetes and like all kinds of melee weapons and stuff that you don't really get in the second game. Things like that. Something else they kind of said that is unlockable, and I think this is for all game modes, not just Horde. As part of the beta, they did a big head mode. And if you ever saw any footage of that, it was quite funny. They had big head and hands, and they all talk squeaky and stuff. Fucking hilarious. That's something you can unlock and enable in the game after you played it. No, it gets better. There's a flower blood mode where instead of blood spitting out of the enemies, it's flowers.
Nice.
That's fucking well funny. And probably one of the better ones is you can unlock an 80s laughter track. So when you kill Locust, you get rounds of applause and cheering and weeping.
Yeah, we're doing that. We are so doing that.
That's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of content that they're putting into Gears 3. I think it's this extra kind of development time. They're just kind of twiddling their thumbs now. Yeah. What can we do? I just throw an 80s laughter track. Let's just, that's pretty cool. So I don't know how you unlock this stuff. There's not a lot of talk about that, but that's pretty cool. So in a way, my most impressed game is Gears 3 because of what stuff they've unveiled, but the actual campaign segment they showed us it wasn't as good as I'd hoped.
So the overall game you're impressed with, you just weren't impressed with the stage demo.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much, that's kind of why I've put it in both, because I am impressed with the game. The game's going to be amazing, I'm going to enjoy it, but,
You're kind of wishing that they showed off Horde mode on the...
Yeah, they should have done. They should have done with the big head and the flowery blood and the laughter. The applause.
That's gonna be exciting.
So I mean, that would have made me a little bit more excited for it had I actually seen that first off. But so that pretty much covers our E3. I guess. I mean, I'm sure there's other things we could mention and talk about for hours and hours on end, and there's probably a lot of news coming out.
Yeah, for us, E3's still on for another few hours.
Yeah, so we're going to kind of end it here almost, and just kind of let what happens happen, and obviously next week on our show, because we're not, this show's going out today as we're recording it, and normally, we'd do a show on Friday. We're not going to do a show on Friday because we've done 3 shows this week. How much do you want from us? But next Friday, you'll get another show, and we will probably be talking about some of the overspill from E3, sort of stuff we haven't been able to mention because it perhaps hasn't happened yet.
We'll also be looking back at our predictions and seeing what came true and what did.
Well, some of that. Well, I can tell you for a start, GTA 4 hasn't been 5 even hasn't been announced yet.
No.
There's been no kind of Skype deal announcement from Microsoft as to integration into the 360. That kind of didn't happen. No God of War 4, no Gears of War Exile. Things like that. I didn't see anything about the Legacy of Kain reboot, but the Tomb Raider reboot pretty much was pretty spot on there. So,
and
awesome.
Carmageddon was announced before E3 anyway,
so
but didn't even see any of that.
But so awesome. So I think it's been a pretty cool E3 all round. Some stuff's been impressive, some stuff hasn't. Obviously, we've just mentioned that, but I'm looking forward to a lot of these games that have been announced, and it's going to be quite an interesting year in gaming, I think.
Yeah.
XCOM is a game that I've been looking forward to and haven't seen much more of other than the trailer, so I did want to mention that, but kind of don't have enough to talk about as far as that goes. But there's plenty of other games that we haven't mentioned that we're still excited for. So But thank you very much for listening. Also, I think we've got some codes to give away next week. Next week's show. Do you want to explain about that?
Right. Well.
Competition time.
Don't
do this very often, do we?
No.
I think it's the first time we've actually properly done it on the show.
This is the situation, people.
Mm-hmm. You've got your hands on some codes.
I do indeed.
What for?
For the Uncharted 3 multiplayer beta.
Sweet.
Now, this is quite impressive. Obviously, I got Infamous 2, and part of the pre-ordering that is, you get access to Uncharted 3 beta. I'm like, yay. I also pay for PlayStation Plus,
right?
Which means I get access to the beta through that. Also a week early.
Yes,
but
all right, rub it in. Go on, get to the point.
Yeah. So I have this code here that I'm not really going to use. Now I'm sure I've got plenty of friends, or whatever, who have PlayStations who would love this code. But I thought, you know what?
Fuck them.
They
ain't getting it. They ain't getting no code.
If they want it, they can work for it. So next week we'll be revealing details on how you can get these codes.
Yep. So stay tuned.
There will be a little bit of work involved.
Yeah. So next Friday, on episode 57, I do believe. Jesus Christ. Yeah, episode 57 next week, next Friday show. We'll give you details on how you can get your hands on. How many codes you got? Just 1 or 2?
Just the one.
Okay.
But there is an extra code I'm throwing in there.
Yeah.
For 50% off Infamous digital download.
Oh, awesome.
So I got that with it as well. But you see, I've already got Infamous,
Yes,
and even if I didn't, I would have downloaded it from the Welcome Backpack. It's for those people who downloaded other games from Welcome Back, who maybe would have liked Infamous but didn't go for it.
And want to get half price.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Works out pretty good. So,
you
it's a
get
2 for
that
1.
yeah.
2 for 1, yeah.
Yeah.
So you get both. That's cool.
You can always sell the Infamous code off.
Don't tell them not to make money off us. Anyway, so for information on how you can get the code for the Uncharted 3 beta access and 50% off Infamous downloaded through PSN,
You have to listen to next week's show.
listen to next week's show for more details. Awesome. Right, well, thank you very much for
And we're not
listening.
even going to put it at the end. We're going to put it right in the middle, so you have to listen to the whole show for it.
Okay, cool. All right, so leaves us enough time to say thank you for listening. Also, check out our good friends over at the Underground Geek Network. Check them out at undergroundgeeknetwork.com. I don't feel like we've been plugging them quite enough over the last 3 shows,
days.
but we've been a bit busy here and there, so
I'm sure they understand.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, I mean, if you're not sure, head on back to episode 53 where we have Aaron and Van as guests, and maybe listen to that segment. I mean, they're great guys. They do a fantastic show. They're sort of 14, 15 episodes in now, and it's a fantastic show. If you're into anything geeky, remotely geeky, comic books, anime, video games, and all that kind of stuff, it's a really fun show. And new episodes go out usually every week on a Tuesday. So check them out. undergroundgeeknetwork.com. Check them out on Twitter, ugeeknetwork. So
yeah, do it now.
Yeah, and if you want to check out more of our episodes, it's Games4all.podcast.com.
Yep.
You want to email us, podcast@Games4all.podcast.com. Facebook.com/ Games4all Podcast. And Twitter's
twitter.com/Games4all.
Awesome, thank you very much. This concludes our E3 2011 coverage, and we'll be back next week with a show on Friday, as usual, back to the usual routine. 1 show a week. Awesome.
Fare thee well.
Goodbye. For more episodes of the Games4all podcast, check out our website, www.games4allpodcast.com.
You can also follow us at twitter.com/Games4all, or check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/Games4all podcast.
The Games4all podcast is brought to you in association with HostGator. For all your web host needs, check out hostgator.com.